Hi, this is Mitchell Ashley, and we're looking at Xobni. Xobni is inbox spelled backwards, and that's essentially what Xobni does. Instead of looking at the email the way your email client does, it actually looks at all the other social networking content that's buried within your OST and PST files. It works as a plugin within Microsoft Outlook. What Xobni does is in the background, it indexes all the information in your PST and OST files, and present that through this plugin in the right-hand part of the screen. I actually selected an email from Simon Crosby. He was recently on our podcast. Simon's the CTO of virtualization at Citrix. He and I were exchanging some emails about how to get him scheduled for the interview. You'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, we have a picture of Simon. Now that picture is actually coming from LinkedIn because Simon has a profile on LinkedIn. And guess what? Xobni interacts with LinkedIn and pulls in information for anyone that matches that email address. It also has some statistics, how many emails I've sent Simon and how many I've received from him. You notice haven't been a lot, just 4 that I've received, 7 that I've sent out. And that's actually because Simon and I have recently just started interacting. We've recently become friends as part of this scheduling this podcast. There's also some other information. You'll notice a blurred area of the screen, and that's actually Simon's phone number. Well, that didn't come from LinkedIn. That actually came from Simon's signature block that he uses when he sends emails out. Matter of fact, a lot of us do that. We have signature blocks at the bottom of our emails, and that's something that Xobni also mines and presents to us. So I could actually click that button and call Simon over Skype. There's other information that Xobni captures. It looks at who are all the people, the email recipients, part of the interactions that Simon and I have had. In this case, there's another individual. His name is Jonathan Jordan. He's actually the PR person who helped schedule our interview. If there were more people CC'd on this email thread, or if I had multiple email conversations with Simon and other people were included, then actually those email addresses, or those profiles, if you will, would be listed here as well. We'll see an example of that in just a moment. We can also see the conversations that Simon and I have had, and actually I can drill down into that and look at some of the detail. Matter of fact, I can actually select how much detail on the screen that I want to see and scroll through for all of our conversation. So that was part of our dialogue of getting Simon scheduled and myself, our schedules to work together to do our podcast. So you can actually, instead of going back and doing sort by subject or sort by person, we can look at the content right here, and we can even reply or look at the conversation, open an individual email if we choose. Let's take a look at another example. I'm going to select Ike Elliott. Ike is actually a blogger over at telecosm.com. He's a good friend of mine. I also play some music with him, and he's actually working on scheduling something here with me. A couple other things to notice about this profile with Ike. We have a histogram bar chart here that shows when Ike typically sends emails to me. So one of the things I noticed right away, it looks like right about lunchtime or just thereafter is when Ike is sending me emails. So I know that's, in this case, he's doing it throughout the day, but his peak time seems to be around 1 o'clock, tapering off in the evening. So kind of work standard hours. It's good to know so I know when and how to contact him. There's actually a number of people that are involved in the interactions that I've had with Ike. We've had lots of different email threads. Here's the various people. So, oftentimes I'll be thinking, now, who is the PR person, or who is the individual that was on that email? I don't remember their name. But I know when I was talking with Ike, someone was copied that I'm looking for. Well, I can click on any email from Ike and actually bring that up and look at who were the people that were copied on it. Also notice there's some additional information. In this case with Ike, we've exchanged some files. He sent me some attachments. And the attachments that I've received from him are actually in chronological order, starting with the most recent. So rather than saying, well, which email was it that Ike sent to me? Was it this one that has an attachment or a different one? I actually can just pull those up right here on this screen. Let's look at another example. Here's a useful one. Julie Board is my editor at Network World. And interesting work pattern pattern with Julie. I would suspect it's probably because she interacts with a lot of people from the East Coast. You notice that most of her emails are sent around 6 a.m. in the morning. Must be an early riser, early worker, morning person. I'm not really. I do a lot of my work at night. So one of the things that I know is that when I send her emails late in the day or in the evening or late in the evening, that she'll most likely open those first thing in the morning, or I'm likely to receive email from her. Maybe even if I want to call her, there's a good chance I might catch her earlier in the day as opposed to later. So very handy, very useful thing. There are a lot of other things that Xobni does. It has an additional search feature. It's actually a little bit better, I think, than the Outlook search. You can search for different terms. You notice how it was filling in the search as we went there. It tells you people you've talked to that have involved the topic of security, but also the various email threads. There's also some interesting statistics that Xobni can show you. Let's look at Xobni Analytics. We've actually started a new day here. As you can see, it's pretty early in the morning here when I'm recording this. But you can look at various statistics, like, for example, what are the time that it takes me normally to respond. Now, if you look over, I guess, since October of 2007, that's averaged probably between, let's say, 35, 40 minutes, gone down to about 20 minutes. Looks like it jumped up there quite a bit, maybe 50, 55 minutes before I would typically respond to an email. Now, these would be emails that are received that I did reply to. And actually, this is most likely because I was traveling pretty heavily during that time. At least that's my excuse, and I'm going to stick with it. But it's kind of tapered back down to around 25 to 30 minutes for me to respond. So some interesting statistics. I don't know that I use this part of Xobni a great deal. I think it's a bit of novelty, at least for me. Maybe other folks have found a different use for that. So I hope this has given you a good idea of how Xobni works and some of the benefits that it can have. I've had very good success with it as a plug-in, as Outlook plugins go. It seems to be very stable and I've done a nice job with the product. So thank you for looking at Xobni.